Welcome to the Slay Hour, and I'm here with the wonderful Maria from Splash Mixers, which I have behind me. Three
I see.
wonderful
You have more
flavors.
behind you than I do.
I was lucky to just be loaded up with some delicious flavors. So tell us about you.
Sure. Well, gosh, where do I start? So I guess I started my career on Wall Street, actually. After college, I worked a few years for the Industrial Bank of Japan in a job that I knew I wanted finance, but I didn't have a mentor at the time. I didn't quite know what roles really. I thought I wanted banking, but I really didn't know much about where inside of a bank. So I realized after I got there, I started out in management reporting. And so I was the one that kind of, would do like the annual report and give presentations to management about long range planning and numbers. And I realized that I wanted to be one of the people whose revenue I was reporting. I wanted to be somebody who generated revenue instead of reported it. So I figured, okay, how do I get to that floor of the bank from the one I'm at? So I decided that there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, but at the time I decided to go back to graduate school. So after I graduated from the Wharton School of Business, I found that my role in derivatives trading. So that's where I started for the first 15 years of my life. And then after I had a few kids, I have 4 now, but I had 3 at the time. And I decided I wanted to be more present, spend more time with them. And, we can talk about this, I'm sure, but I had to make certain decisions about my career there. And I just decided that 15 years is a long time in a role like that. And I decided that I wanted to, exit and spend more time with my kids. So I did that. And then, I always thought I wanted to be a have lunch, play tennis kind of girl, but really no. So when it didn't work for me. So when I did, my husband did too as well. We both left our jobs and moved out east. We actually almost moved to Italy at the time.
Oh, wow.
That's a long story, but we decided to move to the Hamptons. And once we were here, the retired lifestyle lasted for me for about a week. And I thought, what the hell did I do? And I just became a serial entrepreneur after
There
that.
you go. That's really awesome. I think my dad always says the way you live longer is to keep busy. And so my dad is, I won't tell your age, Dad, but he has retired twice and still just keeps working. I have an uncle who is 90 and is still working. So,
wow. God bless them. I mean, my dad is 99. He's not still working. He actually just stopped driving though, thank God, but he's not still working. But that's amazing about your dad, because it's true. It's like life's too short to live one life,
Yeah.
We're here to play this game, so it's kind of like, just do it, just reinvent yourself as many times as you want. I mean, how it's, that old saying, use it or lose it, right? I mean,
yeah. I love what you just said. Life's too short to live one life. I love that. I have to put that on my wall or something.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
So what was it like being a woman on the trading floor? That sounds like the epitome of a boys' club.
It was, and I don't think I really realized it at the time. I think I was naive, but it's interesting because now, so we're talking, I'm old, right? So we're talking now, this was, when I started on the trading floor, it was 94. So, I'm 52 now. So back then I was I'll say the only female derivatives trader on my trading floor. There were women around, and there were women in revenue generating positions, like a lot of salespeople, which is one of the things. When I was graduating from Wharton, I knew I wanted to be a trader, and there were women on the trading floor in sales roles, and they, believe me, had their own difficult time of things. But I knew I didn't want to be a salesperson. I knew I would stink as a salesperson. I wanted to be a trader. I was a mathy girl. I wanted to be a derivatives trader. And really, even going and getting all the things I needed to do to get there, there was really every bank. I had lots of offers, which was great, but they all said they were all in sales. And I
Wow.
said, but I would be really horrible in that role. I want to be a trader. And I just kept at it until I found the one bank that let me be a trader. So I will say I was the only one for a long time. And so, that look, I just wanted to blend in back then.
Yeah.
I tried so hard to, I wore, when I think about my clothing even, it's different these days, but my clothing back then, I remember I had black suits, gray suits, and blue suits, no skirts, and white shirts with the blazer. And I just wanted to be a man. I just wanted to blend in and not stand out and keep my head down and do my job. And
Yeah.
one thing about a role like that, though, is that at the time it was different. What we were talking about was more equal pay kind of things, like glass ceiling kind of things, and equal pay. And I think being on the trading floor is like really one of the only roles where you eat what you kill, and yours, if you make money, if you do better than the guy next to you, you're going to get paid more. There was no gray area. There was no, it was like, okay, she made this much, he made this much. It was basically almost like a payout kind of thing. So I was always surprised that more women didn't go to roles like that, because it was not subjective. It
Wow.
was just like right there. It's like, I'm better than him, pay me more. That was it.
I
um,
absolutely love that. And I wonder, I mean, I'm sure it's because they just didn't know they could.
No, you're right. I mean, even so, one of the issues that we all talk about, which I'm sure you've talked about on this program many times, is, women in the boardroom, women CEOs. And a lot of times we don't even have enough women to interview for those roles. And
Yeah.
so where does it start? It starts out of school. Like, how can we get the women into the roles, so that they can work their way up and be considered for a board position or a CEO position or something like that. And so I remember even back then, our HR department sending me to business schools even. So this is where women are already going to business school, but they would still gravitate more to roles, traditional roles like in marketing and sales, and not the risk-taking positions, and more of the decision-making positions, the risk takers of the bank. And so I would go and try to recruit to get them to even interview for the jobs.
Oh,
And was hard to do because they just had it in their heads that this isn't a role for a woman.
this is a role for a man. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, realistically, that was not that long ago.
No,
That was not that
no.
long ago.
And I mean, it's
And
still that
the
way.
gender roles were so stiff.
It's
And
true. It's true. And
uh,
being a trader though, even once you get somebody to let you do that kind of a role, and then it's your performance. I mean, and
yeah.
then that's wonderful, right? So if a woman's in a role where she's solely judged on her performance, guess what? She's gonna do well.
Yes,
And
exactly.
but even then, there were times when my gender would give me away, like how, like, for example, in the role, the kind of trader that I was, I was an over-the-counter options trader, and so we kind of had a book. Without getting too technical, had a book of risk that stays with you for a while. So you're almost like playing poker. Like, you don't want other people, other banks to see your hand, kind of thing. And so I remember when I would go to the floor and place my orders with brokers to trade things like futures and lay off the bank's risk and stuff like that. I remember frequently people would know it was me. People would know it was our bank, and you'd work through brokers so that people wouldn't know. And I was always so distraught by this. I would try different brokers. I would go to the pits in Chicago and see where people were standing to see why. How do they know it's me? How do they know it's our bank? And then finally one day, one of the traders told me, he said, nobody's giving you up. They're just using your pronoun. And so because they were saying she's bid here, or her, I was the only she that, so they knew who we were. So, just by the basis of the fact that I was the only she, it was like
Wow.
having a big, huge, like, okay, it's that bank. So, and it wasn't their fault. They weren't trying to be, put me in a bad position. It was just that that's how it was. I mean, they couldn't say he. I guess they
Yeah.
could say they, but nobody else was using they then.
Yeah. Wow, that's really crazy. And you don't foresee that happening. You just assume that I'll be treated just like all the guys, just
Yeah, even when
based
they're
off of
trying to
work.
do that,
Yeah.
even when it wasn't like a conscious bias, right?
Yeah. Wow, that's really crazy. And
Yeah.
I assume is an empowering experience that really one shows you that you can run with the big guys. Like
I
anything they
guess
can do, you
so. I
can really do.
mean, yeah, I mean, there were definitely, I don't know, I never really was afraid or thought that I couldn't. I
Yeah.
think all of us would feel that way. It's just, there were definitely like things like I just mentioned, and also just things that you can't change. Like, for example, I had children, so I had to pump a couple of times a day, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
there's a trading floor, there's no offices. We're all out on a big, nowadays, now I know that HR departments, or maybe there's a place that you can go. They have things set up for women to do stuff like that. But when I was there, they didn't. So, I had to,
Oh,
there
wow.
was like one office that wasn't glass. And I just said, look, I'm taking this office at 10 and at 2 for 15 minutes at 10 and 15 minutes at 2.
That's
I don't
it.
care who's in this office, it's mine. I've had to put a sign on it. I had to tell the whole floor. It was really kind of embarrassing, but I had to do it,
Wow.
And of course, I would go at 10 and I would because I only had a few minutes to do it. So I would go in there at 10. Of course, there'd be a bunch of guys having a meeting, and I'd just kick them out and say, I'm sorry. So it is what it is. There's a sign on the door. It is what it is. And,
I gotta go.
yeah. And then, at the end of the day, I would come and take what I had to out of the little fridge and put it in my bag. And, sometimes there'd be like chuckles or whatever, but what are you going to do? It is what it
Yeah.
is. It's the only
Wow.
way I can be there. So I have to do it.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I love that you really didn't even have to stand your ground. It's just ingrained. Like, hey, I have to do this right now. I only have
Yeah.
a few minutes. I'm doing it. So deal with it. And I
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think, as we know, women often fall into this role where they feel like we always have to ask for permission.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's true.
you don't
Yeah.
just do
Well, I
it.
mean, even like when I would, I didn't stay at one bank. I went to other places and hedge funds, and I would just be honest up front and say, look, this is my life. Like, I have to leave here at 4:15 when futures close every day to go home to my kids. They're little. At 7:30 or 8 o'clock when they go to bed, I'll trade all night. I'm back online, but this is how it's going to be. So
Yeah.
just know that, like, if you want to hire me, I won't be going out to dinner. I won't be having, just be honest up front and say what you're willing to do. I just said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be, I don't care if the Pope wants to have dinner with me. I said to somebody one time, I will not. And they said, oh, well, if it's an important client. I said, no, 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 I won't ever. I won't ever be having dinner with you or anyone here. It's just the way it is. And I'm okay with it if you don't want to hire me. Actually, one time I was pregnant with my third child, and I was getting a job offer from a large bank that I don't want to mention, but it was like, gosh, I think I was like 8 weeks pregnant or something. Like I hadn't told my parents yet, kind of thing. Like because I always traditionally, to be
Yeah.
careful, I would wait like 12 weeks or whatever. So I was like, I hadn't even told anybody, only my husband knew. And they made me this offer, and I said, I just said, let's take a walk outside. So we went outside and took a walk, and I said, look, off the record, I just want you to know this. It's cool if you don't want to hire me, but in 7 months I'm going to have a baby, another baby, and I'm going to be trading from home for that time or whatever. So, I'm cool with it if you don't want to make this offer, but I just want you to know. And they did make me the offer, and they were happy that I told them. But I think that's it. If you're just honest about,
Yeah.
what your lifestyle is like ahead of time, and just, tell them how it has to be for you.
Yeah, I love that. Managing expectations is really important in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true
So
for
how did you
sure.
go from the trading room floor to splash mixers?
Well, after we retired, I was still super involved, like with Wharton. I was an entrepreneurial management major besides finance, and I don't know. I always loved the fact that creating something, especially since what I did for a living was so esoteric. I couldn't even, really explain to my kids what the heck I did. So it was nice to build things. And so I started a bunch of different businesses, actually. The first one was a recruiting firm for what my husband and I used to do, which is trading, capital markets, running desks and traders and stuff. And so and he still runs that company, actually. It's in New York. And then, we started a few restaurants. I did some real estate things. I just anything to me that looked like, once I was in civilian life, I was just constantly seeing things that needed to be done, or that I thought would be interesting, or that I thought could be successful, where there was a need for something. And sometimes it started super small, and sometimes a little larger at the beginning. The Splash Mixers thing came because, well, first of all, I had a few restaurants already, and so I was kind of, in the hospitality business. And I was also, at the time, I was the CEO of a fitness company. That was kind of a small private equity deal I did. It was a company that needed some restructuring, and I became a partner. So that was kind of my first foray into like consumer products, like selling, packaged protein bars and protein drinks and things. I'm leaving out kind of something significant. I had breast cancer in 2009. So it was after I had retired from Wall Street, and I was out here already in the Hamptons. So I don't know, it was just kind of a wake up call to live healthier, and just to do, not even to go so off the deep end, but just to make everything in your life a little bit better. I had a terrible diet on the trading floor. I never exercised at all. I just, would get to work, sit in a chair, never get up. People would bring me food, and that would always be either I actually I actually won, I shouldn't say this right now, but I actually won a White Castle cheeseburger eating contest against a very large Russian man on a trading floor.
There you go.
I did. And so I ate really crappy, like, Taco Bell burgers, bacon, egg, and cheese every day. I think it was amazing I didn't have scurvy, because I probably went weeks on end without like a fruit or a vegetable. And so I think that was a huge wake up call to me. And so everything I do now is, maybe I'm not going to cure cancer, but I can help. Like I got very involved with the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. I became a board member, but all the products that I'm involved with, all the things that I do, I try to make it, again, I'm not a scientist. I can't cure cancer, but I can make things a little bit better. So I can't believe actually that this category is so as wide open as it is when you think about it. I mean, there's so many deals being done all the time, and like just every one of my friends seems to have a rosé or a vodka. I feel like I watched my friends at my own restaurant bringing things with them to flavor their vodka with, or to make their drink a little healthier, or a little lower calorie, a little lower sugar, and thought, gosh, I can't believe that people are using all of these flavored teas and recovery drinks and things to make a drink with. But no one's kind of approaching it from the cocktail point of view to say, no, I got you. Like, this is all of these products are. They don't taste diety, by the way, because that was super important to me to make it taste really good. So they're
really good.
They're not 0 calorie and 0 sugar. There's a little bit of, but they're super low calorie and super low sugar, and they're natural, they're non-GMO, all the rest of it, so that, where a regular margarita can be like 300 calories and 30 grams of sugar, which is more than you should have in a day, in terms of sugar. And, our mixers are super, like, 20 calories for the mixer part, and 5 grams of sugar. So, either, it allows you to have another one, it allows you to just have a better count that day, or it allows you to have, maybe indulge on your meal a little bit, because you're covered in this aspect. And they're also great as clean cocktails, just as the mocktail, where I drink Moscow Mule all day with
Oh my
with
gosh.
just a little seltzer. It's my drink, I just love it, and it's just super low calories and sugar, but I think it tastes really good. So that's just an example of not having to give something up, but just make a little change, and you can still enjoy, but you're doing something a little bit better.
Yeah, I love that. They are really tasty.
Oh, yay,
Last
thank
week,
you.
everyone watched me guzzle it as I
Oh,
interviewed
cool.
someone. They're really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
I'm proud of them.
congratulations. That's not
Thank,
a small feat to
thank
defeat
you.
breast cancer. So we're glad we have you with us. We're
Thank you.
glad that you brought us this wonderful product.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's really wonderful. I really think it's important to have a mission. And so I
Mm,
commend you on giving back in every way that you can to breast cancer research. And
mm.
hey, there aren't that many of us that are scientists, but we can do what we can and we can
Yeah,
help where we can.
we
So
can support research for sure.
yes.
This month, actually, I was speaking to a friend of mine last week who she said that her community is not big on diet stuff. So she assumed we would taste diety and actually never tried it. And I said to her, no, 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 we don't taste like we taste like the real things. And so she, we got over that hurdle. But it stuck with me what she said. I said, what do you mean? Like why? She said, no, 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 just traditionally it's really hard to get people in my community to be healthy. And
Yeah.
I said, well, her community she's talking about has a big history of proclivity for diabetes, which
Mm.
actually, and with COVID, by the way, that's one of the risk factors that makes things worse. So it's kind of stuck with me. And I thought, I spoke to my team. I said, you know what, let's look into diabetes because again, like how this is something where you don't want to tell somebody who used to having their lifestyle a certain way to completely change it because
Yeah.
the chances of that working and sticking are slim, right? But let's have them change it a little bit, so we've started researching, and I said to my team, okay, October was breast cancer awareness month, when is diabetes? And they said, of course, it's November, it's now. Okay, so what do? We got involved with the Diabetes Research Foundation, and you're gonna see us do something with them this month,
Awesome.
where we're going to address the 3 things that people can do to help avoid getting diabetes, which are the 3 biggest risk factors are a lack of exercise, stress, and diet, obviously. So we want to be able to be a little part of that to say, look, have you want to have a margarita, but I'm going to make it a sixth of the sugar that
Yeah.
you usually have, and let's start there and move on. So we're going to actually do something with that charity where and we're going to make this a thing every month now, so that we not only give money back to support research for the foundation, but also to put something together like this with someone who can speak to reducing stress, getting started with some exercise and nutrition. So
Yeah, that's amazing. You really don't know until you try. And it's
yes.
unfortunate that people assume things because honestly,
Mhm.
these are amazing. Like these drinks are really delicious.
Yay, thank you.
And I'm a person who loves, oh, well, growing up, I
What?
drank all the soda I wanted, all the pizza, all of
Yeah.
that. I probably would have
What
been in
about
the White
now?
Castle burger
How about
contest with
now?
you. Now I'm so healthy. I'm so
Well, you
aware
look it. I
of
mean,
what I have to be. We have to be.
you
Um,
have to be.
taking care of my body, taking care
Hmm.
of my stress levels, and
Yes,
realizing that all of that is connected. And it's not
it is.
just like, I'll go for a walk or go for a run and then eat 4 burgers. Like,
Right,
that doesn't
right.
work.
I mean, and you talked about, look at your dad. He's retired twice. He's done, okay, well, we can't do those things if we're sick, right? We can't do those
Yes,
things if we don't have energy. You have to take care of yourself first.
exactly.
And so
Exactly.
it's nice to just, so how did you start? Did you make little changes at first, or did you,
Yeah, that's exactly right. I just
yeah.
started paying attention to portion size.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if you remember, but there was the documentary Super Size Me.
Yeah,
And that's when I realized
that
that
was
we were
scary. Yeah,
eating the portion size, like double or
terrible,
triple our portion size.
terrible.
Terrible. And
Yeah,
I stopped eating almost all fast food at once.
wow.
Left myself one fast food to eat like Friday.
What's your one thing?
It was Jack in the Box, which was not the best,
My
but
husband was obsessed with those fried apple pie things.
oh
Oh my
yes.
God, disgusting, but I shouldn't say that. But
And
no,
now I
the
don't eat it
fried
at all.
tacos. Sorry, the deep fried tacos.
Oh, the deep fried
That's a
tacos.
Jack
Mine
in the
is
Box thing, right?
the jalapeno poppers. I was a sucker for those jalapeno poppers. But
But so
now
maybe you get an air fryer
I do.
and
I have one. And
find it just
see,
a better way to make the same thing, to start,
exactly.
right?
With fresh ingredients,
Hmm.
not saturated in grease and who knows what
Yeah.
else.
Yeah,
All of
at my
that.
restaurants, we one of the I own an olive oil farm in Italy, which is
Oh wow.
organic, which has been organic for centuries, by the way. And so yeah, we use, it's just important in our restaurants also to do the whole, really fresh ingredients,
Yeah.
local ingredients, things that are, fish that's in season, local farms, really just my partner in my restaurant actually is started making honey in his in his backyard.
That's awesome.
He's got bees now. But so yeah, we just keep, we just keep going. Just try to keep adding something that's going to be in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so you mentioned COVID.
Mhm.
How has your business transitioned during COVID? Because it's been
Holy
tough for
cow.
everyone.
It's been, yeah. And I feel, it's been super hard. I mean, one of the things we did in the beginning, by the way, was to support that bartender community that was one of our first charities that we supported. But for us, it really, really hit us hard because though we have a product that's perfect, we weren't positioned super well to sell it in the right places at that time. Our focus had been to when I developed this, I wasn't really sure if it was going to be a retail product or an on-premise product. And so we kind of tried it everywhere. And what I see is that it works in most places. It works in both. And as a business person, I always tried to come up with the reason why that venue, how I could make them more money. And so where one of the places it works super well is a stadium, right? I mean, any place where you have to feed a crowd quickly and maybe, the people pouring the drinks, some of those people are, it's their second job. Maybe they're not like a bartender. They have to go through a crowd quickly and you want consistency and you want it to be fast. So we really focused on getting stadiums. So unfortunately, and we had just signed up 8 major new stadiums. In fact,
Oh my
one of
goodness.
them we were like a week away from doing the Billie Eilish concert at the Prudential Center, and that's when COVID hit. So it was devastating to us because that's really where we had been putting our focus and our resources. So just let me stray from that for a second. When we first put this mixer in Yankee Stadium a couple of years ago, I wasn't sure actually about the message of, I struggled with, do we tell these guys that it's healthier, that it's better for you? Because it tasted so good that
Yeah.
we didn't really need to. And I
Yeah.
really struggled with that. I thought, it's like the old Budweiser commercial from years back that was like less filling or tastes great. Like, which one do you want to go with? And so the messaging for us, I thought, I was afraid. So we just made it cocktails. I don't know if all the men in Yankee Stadium were like magically losing weight, maybe, and didn't know why. But, but one of the things we did was in the Titans Stadium in LA, we Tennessee, sorry, we had 2 end zone bars, and one of them did call out the fact that we were these attributes, and one we didn't. And I have to say, I'm going to hand it to all those guys and women too. The bar that did call out the fact that it was better for you did better.
Wow.
So they were ready for it. So now we're owning it. Now we're going to own the space even, and we are that better choice. But back to what did we do when we lost the stadiums? It was really rough. So not only did we lose the stadiums, at the time we were in about 1,000 retail stores, and we were on Amazon. We'd just gotten on Amazon, but we still we're in the brand awareness stage. So in the early days of COVID, even the supermarkets we were in, though, they were up to here with like restocking in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
Clorox, toilet paper, and chicken. And it was like they were saying to us, look, if you are not one of those 3 things, we really can't deal with you right now. We know you're in the warehouse, but we just need to get through this time. So even though we were a solution then, we couldn't get on even the shelves we were on, it was hard to get just logistically restocked. Same thing with Amazon. Amazon was just, they were so inundated, as you all know, in the beginning with masks and Clorox and toilet paper, that they lost 3 of our shipments.
Ah,
So it looked like, and then even though we were there, they couldn't find, it was a mess. They hired so much new staff that, to work all those shifts, and they were new people. So basically it was saying that we were sold out, and we were in the warehouse, but they just couldn't even bring us on. So even in the 2 places where we could have had sales, we struggled. So we
yeah.
just completely pivoted, and my staff was like, if you say the word pivot one more time, we're gonna hit you with one of these bottles. But anyway, we pivoted, and we built our own fulfillment center out here where I live, and literally just started. We had a website, but we never really promoted it. We didn't make it a big deal that we would be selling directly. So we did that. We just really started doing anything we could to sell directly from our website while we were having the logistical problems elsewhere. And then we also thought about, okay, well, where else can this be that makes sense right now? And that was liquor stores. We hadn't been in liquor stores yet. And so we signed up, for example, we're just starting to be in them now, but we, in the state of New Hampshire, we're in all of those state-owned liquor stores, and they crushed it. I mean, we were getting more and more orders from them, repeat orders, and we didn't even, it was always on our list, but because we're small and startup, we just hadn't gotten to it yet. So we really just took all our resources and threw them to direct online and the liquor stores. And now I have to say, this year, because we lost all of those on-prem venues, we are nowhere near where we thought we'd be right now. But I'm so proud of everyone who works at Splash. They worked so hard, and we actually are up over last year, which is a miracle.
Oh.
Yeah, thank God. With losing all of that on-prem.
Yeah.
And now our focus is like, how do we tell stadiums or hotels even that we can be part of the solution?
Yeah.
Like, how can we be, like, as you reopen, we have these little minis, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So now, So, these are like, as a hotel opens back up, or as, even restaurants for takeout, when people maybe they don't want another person in their backyard, even for a small get together or a wedding they're doing themselves now. You don't need that extra person. You don't even need that bartender now. You can easily, we made the bottle pretty enough that it looks great it could be on a table at a wedding or a backyard barbecue. So I really thought about that. Like, could this be in Leonardo DiCaprio's hand at bottle service in Vegas? Could he be embarrassed to be holding this? I'm like, I want this to be everywhere. So
yes, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah. So now we're just trying to show as many new venues as we can. Look, we can help you with your revenue. Maybe it's a restaurant that never sold cocktails, or that kind of thing that we could say, or even a restaurant that doesn't have a liquor license. It could even be a fast food place that, look, if you sell these with, the person might have a bar at home, they might have a bottle of liquor at home, and they just need the mixer. It's just another way to increase their revenue with another lineup, so that they also can figure out ways to stay profitable right now.
Yeah, it's so crazy to see how many different ways so many different businesses were affected, because that's something I didn't even think about. I mean, I knew grocery stores and Amazon were backed up and had issues, but I didn't know that meant other products weren't getting replenished. And
that was a real problem for us. It hurt at the worst time. Now they seem to be, a little bit better logistically. And also now, with this, further lockdowns, we're all just like, oh gosh, we really have to keep doing this. But you know what? We have to just do stuff like this, like we're doing now. Like, I'm meeting you. I've never met you before. I'm so happy to meet you and have this time with you. And maybe we wouldn't have before. So, we're trying to say, like, okay, send somebody a cute box of minis and a note saying, hey, let's have a cocktail online together next week at, Thursday at 8.
This is perfect for New Year's. Like, hello, even Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and the thing is too, when you're, I don't know, I was always like, I'd go to a liquor store if I was going for a hostess gift or some like a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. You never know what to get. Like, let's say it's a guy, or let's say it's even like, let's say it's a woman who likes wine. If she
Yeah.
really likes wine, maybe she's not going to like the wine I'm picking out tonight. Maybe she has a better taste, or maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe I'm going to somebody's house and I don't know if everybody drinks liquor or not. So
Yeah.
this is kind of perfect because you know what? If you don't, great, have a clean cocktail. And if you
Yeah.
do, this should be part. My new message to especially men is going to be, look, if you have a bar. If you have vodka at home, you should have this at home. Like if
Yeah.
maybe you mostly serve beer or wine, but this is like, it's like when my mother, when I was growing up, there would be this like cake that nobody could touch in case company came. It's like,
In the
and it's like,
glass,
it's kind of
in the
like, all right,
glass
we're ready.
jar.
We're ready. If somebody comes over, we're ready to entertain. And like, that's how I feel with this, to be honest with you. It's like, you're ready. Like you're covered. Like if you have a bar and we have Moscow Mule, Mojito, Cosmo, Bloody Mary, and what am I leaving out? Margarita, of course.
Yeah.
Then if you have these at home, then you're ready. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Then, somebody
And the
happens
thing
to
that's
pop over with a mask and they want to drink.
put a straw in the mini and you're good
You're
to
good.
go. I really think it's really important to stress. Well, it's not really important to stress, but I really want to say that, there's other brands that make cocktails and mocktails that either are oversaturated with sugar and you can taste it,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they do have an alcohol in them, and
Mm.
it's just like rubbing alcohol, even if it's not vodka.
Exactly. It has to be because I mean to hit that, to be selling a mixer, I'm telling you what's in there is not good. And
Yeah.
so you're right. Thank you for saying that because my goal was to be like the white napkin that can go with anything. If you
Yeah.
have super expensive tastes in your vodka or whatever you're drinking, we only enhance that drink and make it perfect every time,
Yes.
all the way down. Where whatever level you're at, we've got you. And so thanks. Yeah, I agree with you. Any of the stuff, anything that's already alcohol in the bottle, obviously isn't going to be
Yeah.
something you'd probably want to have on its own.
I remember, in my college days, not knowing and just, I need something to drink, so I'll just drink this. But then quickly realizing this is terrible.
Yeah,
It hurts. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't taste good. I'm
right.
not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, or being in college, at least start out good
Yes.
until you don't notice it.
It looks good. You'll be cool with these splash mixers.
Yeah.
I think, so we're running out of time, but I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
And we ask this question to everyone we interview. I think it's so important to highlight this. And the question is, how are you practicing self-care during this crazy time? Because I know you're busy. I absolutely know you're busy.
Yes. I absolutely make time every day. Personally, something, and I didn't mention I had breast cancer for the second time during COVID just
Oh
now.
my goodness.
So
Oh
it
my
was a
goodness.
very tough year for me, but you know what? It happened at a time where and I just finished all my treatments. So yay.
Yes.
Sorry,
Congrats.
sorry, but
No, I'm so pleased. This
yay.
is honestly, this is a safe space, and you can be raw and appreciative and grateful because that's amazing.
Well, you know
That,
what? It was a great time to have it because everybody else was like wearing sweats and in the fetal position working from home. So nobody noticed. So it was great. But no, but I made the time to meditate. I practice transcendental meditation with a guy named Bob Roth of the David Lynch Foundation, and I think it's been incredibly helpful to me, even more than exercise, to be honest with you, because I
yeah,
couldn't exercise at the moment. But I have to say that was just, and we don't have any time. I have 4 kids. I work. I don't have time. But taking 20 minutes twice a day was almost like resetting the hard drive, and it gave me all this energy
yeah,
to go into the evening to be able to work more and to just have just feel better. And I have to say I think that was my biggest the thing that helped me the most this year, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's fair to say that,
Yeah.
we've all had our fair share of ups and downs this year, but
Mm.
you take the cake. Like your strength. We
Oh
are no
gosh.
strangers to breast cancer at So She Slays. A number of us have
Oh,
been affected. And so
I'm
we
sorry.
feel for you and we applaud you and we congratulate you. And we
Thank
are
you.
grateful that you are here. And we
Thank
are
you.
grateful that you are on the Slay Hour and are able to bring us wonderful things.
You guys are
And
amazing. Really,
oh,
what you've
thank
created,
you.
this is super amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll have to have you on again. And
That'd be
we'll have
great.
to talk about where Splash Mixers will go next.
Okay, terrific. Excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in to our Slay Hour. Again, these are Splash Mixers. They're really good. We are so grateful to have Maria on the live with us. If you use code SoSheSlays20, you get 20% off. Stay tuned, and we will see you next week with another Slay Hour. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great weekend, you guys.